Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to take a really fascinating dive into something a lot of us experience, but, well, rarely understand. The psychology of having seemingly way too many passions. If your brain constantly feels scattered, or if you're the kind of person who literally has 72 completely unrelated mental browser tabs open right now, this one is absolutely for you. Based on our source material today, we're going to completely reframe everything you thought you knew about your beautifully messy, scattered mind.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, The Curse of Many Interests, Bouncing Between Passions.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever met someone who is interested in absolutely everything? Maybe it's a friend, a coworker, or, let's be honest, maybe it's the person looking back at you in the mirror. You know the type, someone who wakes up totally fired up to devour a completely new field of study, like every single day. It's a rapid-fire whiplash. One day you are all in on business strategy. The next, you're obsessed with producing music. Then suddenly it's fitness, reading heavy psychology journals, coding the next big tech app. And then by the weekend, you're deep into painting art. You're just constantly bouncing. And you know, what does society usually say to folks like this? Just focus on one thing. Right? It's this rigid myth that gets pushed as the ultimate secret to success. And when you hear that over and over, you start to internalize it. You start to think, man, my multifaceted nature is a massive flaw. You actually start believing your diverse passions are a sign of failure or just a total inability to commit.
But here's where we get to totally flip the script. Welcome to Section 2, The Multipotentiality Mind. It's not confusion, it's curiosity.
Psychology actually tells us that this isn't confusion at all. It's a recognized psychological trait, the multipotentiality mind, marked by incredibly high curiosity. Your brain is not broken. It's actually wired to get intensely excited by learning, exploring, and connecting different ideas. So when you're jumping from subject to subject, your brain is just actively doing its absolute favorite thing, discovery. It's a profound psychological strength.
And this brilliantly illustrates the clash we face. On one side, you have the societal expectation of life as a straight line. You start at point A, put your head down, and walk a narrow path to point B. But the multipotentialite brain, it doesn't see life like that at all. It sees life as a network. It's this beautiful, messy, interconnected web where, say, music informs math, which connects to psychology, which drives business. It's all linked. Now, we do have to be honest about the mental toll this takes. So let's look at Section 3, the decision paralysis trap, the downside of high curiosity. This quote perfectly captures the emotional core of that valley. Choosing one feels like losing the others. When literally everything feels fascinating, making a choice doesn't feel like a win. It feels like a huge loss. It triggers severe decision paralysis. Think about it. If you choose to be an artist, you're mourning the tech founder you could have been. If you pick psychology, you're mourning your music. That fear traps people in agonizing indecision. And because of that fear, you keep switching. Now, society loves to slap an unfair label on this. They call it lazy. But actually, switching happens not because of laziness, but because commitment feels limiting. Locking into just one single thing feels like walking into a cage and locking the door on the rest of the world. So they jump around just to keep their options alive.
Now, what's really interesting about this brings us to Section 4, the thrill of discovery, fast learners, and the boredom curse.
Here's the frustrating cycle. These folks are often remarkably fast learners. They absorb information like a sponge because their brains crave that dopamine hit of novelty. But the second mastery feels close, boom, that dopamine drops. They get completely bored. They have practically zero interest in that repetitive day-to-day grind required to be a top-tier specialist. The excitement is all in the discovery, so once it's gone, they move to the next shiny thing.
But this brings us to our final and most uplifting pivot. Section 5, The Power of Connectors, Driving Progress.
So the crucial point is looking at how society views things versus historical reality. We know society praises specialists and deeply values hyperfocus. But history? History shows us that actual world-changing progress comes from connectors. It values people who link completely different worlds. If you only ever look at one narrow field, you can only iterate on what's already there. But if you connect the world of art with the world of technology, that is where true innovation happens. That's the superpower of the connector. And that brings us to this incredibly powerful reframe from the source. Having many interests isn't a weakness, it is unmanaged curiosity. Your wide-ranging passions are an immense asset. That scattered feeling isn't a broken brain, it's just a massive amount of creative energy that hasn't been channeled yet. You don't need to fix your interests at all, you just need to manage the flow. Which leads us to our final thought for today's explainer. The key is absolutely not to kill your interests. Please do not force yourself onto a straight line if you are built for a network. The goal is to manage your curiosity so you can actually harness it. So I want to leave you with this question. How will you connect your worlds today? How are you going to take those scattered passions and build a brilliant bridge between them? Thanks so much for exploring the multipotentialite mind with me, and I really hope you leave this explainer feeling empowered to go out and embrace every single one of your interests. Catch you next time.